What's going on, you sexy bitches? Welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. We are covering today this week's edition of AEW Dynamite. It's been a little bit since I reviewed a Dynamite show, but I figured I'd do it today because this past week's Dynamite was the big one that came from the USB Dome, where AEW sold way more tickets than WWE within a week and a half period. So how was the show itself? Was it any good? Did it deserve that near sellout audience that it had in New York? MJF coming home, so to speak. How did the crowd react? We're going to talk about that all in this video today and where we think things are going for next week's edition of Dynamite, which is Winter is Coming edition for this year. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys, of course, it is the end of the year. There's a lot of stuff that you need to take care of. Getting ready for tax season, getting your finances in order. If you want to hop on getting your finances in order, and probably hopping on this dip that we got going on right now, which is a great time to buy. If you want to get on the stock trading train, you can get Webull down below in the description box below. You can get up to 2 free stocks from Webull. You can get a decent credit card that actually gives you good points, not that Credit One bank card that's appearing on WWE TV. Don't get that card. Get the card. Chase. Get one of the Chase cards. Chase cards come with a lot of points, a lot of benefits. You basically make money by just spending what you usually spend by using that. So check that down below. And if you want to get into crypto, there's Coinbase, BlockFi, Celsius, all kinds of them. And they're giving away a lot of free stuff for the holiday season. So check those links down below. Get yourself some free stuff. And now let's talk about this edition of AEW Dynamite. So in a total MJF troll move, we get MJF's music to start out the show. But we don't get MJF. We get CM Punk pulling an MJF and really ticking off the crowd to begin with. And CM Punk kind of promo for a good while where he basically ran down this audience. A lot of hockey references. I'm not a hockey fan, so I don't get all the hockey references. But I get, he's from Chicago. They have a hockey team, and he's insulting the New York, the greater New York, New Jersey area hockey. Did a lot of that. Said that if you guys are back in MJF, if that's your guy, then you guys suck, basically. And it was a very interesting way of I've seen some people say Punk was the heel. I've seen other people say that the crowd was the heel. But I haven't seen this very often in wrestling. So it's nice to, once again, see Punk innovating a little bit here. Nice to see something slightly different than what we're usually seeing from these start of the show promos. He was trying to goad MJF to coming out, but MJF didn't come out because he has something more important to do. And that is to try to three-peat as the Dynamite Diamond Champion. So we got the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale here, 12 guys in this match, and it was a lot of fun. This was one of the more well-booked Battle Royals than AEW's ever had. Some of the times they book these Battle Royals, they're a little ham-fisted with the way they do them. But this one was booked very well. MJF got a huge pop as he came out. They had this amazing video package for him ahead of time, which is probably the greatest thing I saw that entire day. That just had me. I was laughing the entire time. The acapella team reference, him scoring with so many chicks and all of this stuff. MJF is MJF, and I absolutely love him. And I love him as a heel, and the crowd loved him. He got a huge pop, and he did very little in the match. He is indicative of that old school thing of, you do very little physically, but you do a lot character-wise, and you can get over and get paid a lot of money by doing far less than some of these other guys doing with doing all these moves and stuff. So there is something to that, but you have to be skilled like an MJF to be able to do that. Everybody can't do what MJF is doing. But he hid behind Wardlow for most of the match. There was a bunch of little sub-stories going on. Leo Rush and Team Taz, the whole thing with Dante Martin being part of Team Taz now. But when it came down to it, and it was MJF, who, by the way, eliminated Wardlow by accident when he was trying to eliminate 2 other people. But it came down to MJF, Dante Martin, and Ricky Starks. And what happened is Dante turned on Team Taz. And the storyline's been going on for like 2 weeks. He's in Team Taz for like a week and a half or whatever. He's already out. He backstabbed them through Ricky Starks over the top rope. So it'll be Dante Martin and MJF going for the Dynamite ring next week on AEW Dynamite. But that did not stop it there. Ricky Starks very upset. Taz completely upset. Taz will not let this go for the rest of the show. He brought this up for the whole rest of Dynamite, and he sounded so sad, like, our lawyers suck, our lawyers suck. I almost felt bad for him because the Taz got shafted by his poor skeezy New York lawyers, but whatever. That was pretty fun. And then what was even more fun on top of that is MJF's going back up the ramp because he's in his hometown. So they're cheering him like a face. And he's pretending like he's going to do face things, but he's still the biggest heel in the sport. So he gets up there, looks back like he's going to save Dante Martin from this beatdown he's getting from Ricky Starks. And he's like, nah. But then he rushes down to the ring, and the crowd starts cheering. He gets in the ring, goes face to face with Ricky, and then the two of them start stopping. MJF is so good at this, man. He's so good at this. So, of course, CM Punk comes out to make the save, the actual save. And now we've got CM Punk once again involving somewhat with Team Taz. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. I think Dante is going to win the Dynamite Diamond ring next week. Because that would probably... Right now, it's Punk kind of chasing MJF. I think you need to add that in so MJF has a motivation to be angry at CM Punk. Whereas Punk is really angry at MJF right now. So, and they're kind of goading each other. And that would be... If CM Punk cost MJF his third Dynamite Diamond ring, you know MJF's going to be pissed off. So we're looking forward to that next week. That should be absolutely fantastic. Bunch of other stuff happened on the show. FTR continued their challenge for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. They will be having another match against the actual Lucha Brothers, Penta and Rey Fenix. Phoenix apparently, hopefully, will be in town for this. I assume so because I think they filmed it last night. But Phoenix will be in town for a Rampage on Friday. And FTR hopes to be dual tag team champions, rocking their Midnight Express new theme song, so it's all good. We got Cody coming out to confront Sammy Guevara and let Sammy know that, Sammy's going to be defending the title against Cody on I think it's the Christmas Day episode of Dynamite. Now, Cody came out, he's all burnt, he's got all the burn marks and everything from last week's desperate attempt to get his hometown to cheer for him. And he comes out here, the fans boo him. The fans boo him when he makes the announcement that he's getting a title shot. And then Cody is now leaning into this thing, which I thought he was going to. He started walking towards the heel entrance and then stopped himself and walked to the face entrance just to troll people. Oh, okay. So this is what Cody's going to do with this. I'm going to like. I like that. That was fun. If that's what Cody's going to do. And maybe after going through the fire last week, something clicked with him and he's just like, all right, I'm just going to lean into this heel thing, see where it goes. And now I'm interested in seeing, is he going to be full heel or is he going to be like a delusional heel who thinks he's a face, like in the vein of Bo Dallas back in the day on NXT. So that was cool. I want to see where this goes. The Young Bucks teamed up to take on members of Chaos and the Best Friends and sort of Roppongi Vice. Anyway, so Rocky Romero and Chuck Taylor teamed up to take on the Young Bucks in a match that felt like I'm back 4 years ago watching New Japan's Junior Tag Team Division with Rocky Romero and partner against the Young Bucks. And this was as exciting as those matches were back in the day. Rocky was really good in this one. A couple really close near falls that I thought he was going to win the match. The Bucks and Rocky have such great chemistry. They always did. If you haven't seen any of that stuff, go on New Japan World, watch some of those old Roppongi 3K matches against... Or not Roppongi 3K, Roppongi Vice matches against the Young Bucks. But speaking of Roppongi Vice, Trent Beretta came out after the Bucks won the match and made the save along with his mom, Sue, I think her name is, came into the minivan. Trent's cut his hair. He's all jacked up after that spinal neck surgery, which, that sounds very serious. But he looked like he was in good shape, wiped out everybody in the Elite. And now he got in the ring and everybody gave the hug because, you have to give the people what they want. AEW's women's division getting a little bit better increment by increment. We had Riho having a match against Jamie Hayter on this episode. That was way better than I thought it was going to be. Again, another match that had some great near falls. And I think it works with Riho's matches because she's so small that she has to do about 5 or 6 devastating moves to put down somebody with the size advantage that Jamie Hayter had. And Jamie Hayter's just amazing. I think she's a diamond in the rough. That's going to come into, they set these things up. She is to Britt Baker what Wardlow is to MJF. And eventually, they've already started teasing the breakup between the two of them. So now, whether that happens in a week, 6 months, or a year, God knows, because Wardlow has been doing this thing with MJF for 2 years. It's been over 2 years now. They've been teasing Wardlow leaving MJF. It's going to happen eventually, but I like this women's match. Riho gets the win, of course, leading towards her challenge of Britt Baker for the AEW Women's title. The TBS Championship stuff, that's still going on. Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho. She's going to be taking on Nyla Rose in the TBS tournament. And another thing that really isn't related to the tournament, but the most interesting feud right now in the AEW Women's division for me is Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. Shida and Deeb have a very good chemistry with each other. I like the makeup of this feud. I like the look of the two of them going against each other. Sheeta's brought out a lot of fire. Deeb has brought out this kind of sadistic mentality of wanting to stretch Sheeta and really damage her knee. So this is going well. They're going to have another match pretty soon. And I've said this, and if AEW is listening, please, in the future, for the TBS Championship, give us a 7-match series with Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida for the TBS Championship at some point in the future. I would love to see that. I think they could do it and pull it off in the same way Booker T and Chris Benoit did it for the WCW TV title back in the day. Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff did it for the NWA US Championship back in the day. I think it's high time we get another 7-match series in mainstream wrestling, and those two women, I think, are the ones to do it. But in the main event, we have Bryan Danielson taking on Johnny Hungy, John Silver, Long John Silver. That's what the ladies call him. But this was a pretty cool match. It's not often that you see Bryan taking on somebody smaller than him, but stronger than him. And I would love to see these two wrestle again in about a year or two once Johnny Hungy is a little bit more elevated as a star, because the guy's he's got everything to be like a unique kind of star, which a lot of guys in AEW do. But he's definitely going to be a unique star, and I would love to see him get to that position later on down the line, and then see another match between him and Bryan when he's a little bit more seasoned and a little bit more well-known in the wrestling world. But this was a fantastic match. Bryan acted like he was big boying Johnny Silver a little bit, but Silver gave as good as he got until the end. Bryan hits a gotch pile driver a la Minoru Suzuki and basically knocks out John Silver, and then puts him in a submission and gets basically the referee stopped the match because Johnny was knocked out. But very interesting that yet another person who was adopted, Minoru Suzuki. It's two now, Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, taking on the gotch pile driver from Minoru Suzuki, Murder Grandpa. His influence will be felt throughout the history of wrestling. I have said before that I think in about 10 years, if Bryan Danielson's still wrestling, he's going to be like the American version of Minoru Suzuki. Can you see like 55-year-old Bryan Danielson like beating the snot out of people? He will be our version of Minoru Suzuki in the future. So that led to Hangman Page coming into the ring, the AEW champion, beating down and getting the best of Bryan Danielson for a little bit, but that is all leading into their match at Winter Is Coming, or whatever they call it, next week on AEW Dynamite. All around, I thought this episode was really good. Definitely enjoyable. One of the better episodes that they had over the past couple of weeks. And I can't say much more else about it, but I want to know what you guys think about this episode of AEW Dynamite. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. If you like this video, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. And be sure to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, or wherever you talk about pro wrestling, AEW, and sports entertainment. I'll see you guys pretty soon for more news, rumors, and reviews right here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.